Hello everyone, my name is Nick. I am the founder and the voice behind guidedtradingmeditations.com, and today I thought I'd make a quick video just covering what the fuck it is, because I completely understand that when you see meditations, the first thing you think of is like crossed legs, fingers touching, a bit like my logo, and I really wanted to get into today that that is nothing like what these courses are, that there's the element of yes, you are meditating, but we're not just sitting silently doing nothing, calming the mind. There's so much more to it, and I'm really excited to share with you what it is and hopefully show you how it can help your trading. So essentially the pro courses are psychology courses in meditation form. And what that is essentially, it's not just meditating, that's kind of free for everyone. You can pay a very small amount to get Headspace or one of the other meditation apps. But this is a process to fix your flaws. Throughout the course, whatever you pick, whether it's FOMO, discipline, pulling the trigger, changing mindset on losses, or any of the other meditations that are going to be coming out over the next few months and years, there's a process to improving. And the problem that a lot of people have is they don't really know how to go through that process. And what we do is we understand the problem. We then pinpoint when the triggers are for when you're going to make this problem. We're going to practice catching those triggers, and then we're going to change the underlying thought process. And then the key is to practice, practice, practice. So essentially, it's giving you the opportunity to figure out for yourself your own very individual difficulties in the market, because I'm going to have a completely different idea on what FOMO means to me than what it means for you or your friends or your mentor. And as a result, a course designed for just one aspect doesn't really work, and instead this is really helping you figure out what your problem is, how you need to solve it. So each pack is essentially its own course, and we can go through how it helps you to improve. You hear a lot of people saying, oh, just don't do XYZ, just don't take that trade, or just sit on your hands. And it sounds really easy until you try it, and by the third day, you're completely ignoring it. You're getting angry when someone says it, and you're making more mistakes than ever. And that's because what they're trying to do is just tackle the emotional response. And the problem is, an emotional response is so much stronger than our thought process. And therefore, when you get emotional, as you might have seen in the video I put out a few weeks ago, when you get emotional, you physically can't think straight, and you can't just say, oh, I'm just not going to take a trade. The emotional response is caused by a thought process, and that thought process is triggered by something. And that trigger exists because of an underlying thought process. To give you an example, you might go, the emotional response, it might be, if it's FOMO, might be, oh my god, this stock, oh my god, I've got to take this trade, got to take this trade. You get really amped up, you're trying to find an entry. The thought process below that is essentially going, oh, this has moved higher, lots of people have made money off on this, I've missed the ideal opportunity, I need to find an opportunity to get in still. And the trigger was a stock has ripped higher, or a forex pair has ripped higher, or whatever you're trading has ripped higher. And the underlying thought process is, I can't miss out on these opportunities. Other people are making these opportunities, so I need to take them as well. For example, very, very basic thought process. Now you have to get to a point where that underlying thought process is resolved. But to do that, you first have to identify them, and it's often from the top down. So you need to identify the emotional response. You need to get better at seeing the emotional response, get better at understanding the emotional response. Then you need to get better at seeing the thoughts in that emotional response. This is what the whole point of the first two meditations in each pack is. Really understanding, okay, what do I feel when FOMO hits me? What am I thinking? What am I doing? And then understanding, when are my triggers? What makes me have those thoughts that make me emotional? And when you can begin to do that in a meditation form and then practice it live in the markets, what you're going to find is you're going to spot that trigger and you're going to go, oh, this is a potential trigger. Normally I would think this, and normally I'd become emotional. And that sometimes alone is enough to make a step back, be calm, and not make a mistake. But what we really want to achieve is the final step, which is the final few meditations in each course, which is to change your thought process. To get to a point where the trigger doesn't trigger a thought, which doesn't trigger an emotional response, because it's just something else in the market. And the reason this is possible, and we know it's possible, is your trigger is not a universal trigger. You might get triggered by a stock ripping higher, or something, or a forex pair ripping higher, or whatever it might be, whereas someone else never gets triggered by that. So therefore, you have to figure out why that is triggering your thought process and emotional response. And once you figure that out, you figure out that thought process, and you change that thought process, that trigger will no longer be there. Each of these steps you need to practice in the market, and the beauty about meditation is that you remove all of the noise, all of the other thoughts, and you can just delve really deep into almost into your own subconscious, and begin to figure these things out. Essentially, in trading, you are always going to be your own teacher. Sure, you can have a mentor in a chat room, you can have friends, but at the end of the day, you're your own teacher. There's no trading course or unit, just sort of like a college course or something like that. You can sit in, you learn, and then you're like, oh, now I've made money. Now I've got my diploma, I'm a winning trader or whatever. You have to go out and be your own teacher. And the reason this is so difficult is because teachers have the knowledge, and then they show you the path. If you're sitting in class, or you sat in class in the past, you listen to a teacher telling you something, and then they teach you how to answer that question for an exam, and then you sit the exam and you pass. In trading, you don't have any of that. You need to go and figure out the knowledge on your own, and then you need to figure out the path. And quite often, you're going to be in a situation where you have no idea if the knowledge you've got is good. You have no idea if the path you're going down is good. And as a result, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of sort of like a lot of mess in your mind, and that can be very frustrating, very tiresome. The pro courses that we've created are here to help you understand and gain knowledge on your own trading, and then give you the path to success. They help you work out why you struggle with FOMO, why you struggle with discipline, why you can't pull the trigger, why increasing size is difficult. And then they give you a path to go along that over the course of a few weeks, maybe a few months, will get you to where you want to be. And there's nothing out there really that does that from a psychology point of view. We've got tons of it on my trading strategy that can make you $1 million. Yeah, we've got loads of that. But has it worked? Probably not. In 95% plus of people, that has not worked. So what I'm trying to do is give you something that can actually give you a path to go and achieve that. Now, if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. I have got a discount available until the end of September. It's YouTube 30, and it gives you 30% off, and that's at guidedtradingmeditations.com. The current price is set at $50, and with the YouTube 30, you get 30% off your first month, so it's only $35. It's like $1.16 a day, I think I worked out as, which is nothing. And every single person who have tested the courses, who has come back to me, has said that they have improved in some small way. The way I always look at this is, if you struggle with FOMO right now, or you struggle with discipline, and you use the FOMO course or the discipline course, and it means that you avoid taking 1 or 2 trades this month, then you've made your money back. If you're struggling to increase size, because it keeps on getting on top of you emotionally, and you do the course, and it means that you're able to get to a point where you're comfortable taking more size, you've made your money back. You've made that extra profit. And for $35, I honestly think it's still, for $50, I think it's incredibly cheap as well. So again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for for watching and showing interest in all of this. If you're subscribed to the channel, that's incredible. And yeah, get yourself over to guidedtradingmeditations.com. If you're not ready to purchase, that's fine. We've got free courses which will help you prepare in the pre-market, help you to wind down after trading. But really consider, if you are struggling right now with FOMO, if you are struggling with discipline, if you are struggling to pull the trigger, and you keep on going from strategy to strategy and nothing really works for you, consider maybe you should actually work on your psychology, and that this is a really cheap way of having a psychology course, and something you should really, really consider at least trying out for a month or two to see if it can get you to where you want to be.